Hey, hello, hello. It's Kristen, and today we are talking about Charmed Season 3, Episode 2. There's been a little bit of a delay just because I've been busy covering my first ever Sundance Film Festival, which was so cool. So make sure to check out all the reviews and interviews that I have coming for it on my channel. But don't worry, I did not talk about Charmed. So today we're going to be talking about the latest episode. Just a few reminders. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking down the episode in different parts. And then if you have any comments or questions or just things you want to bring up, let me know and I will bring you in and, we'll chat. And anything else that maybe I don't catch, we'll get at the end. And consider subscribing if you like my videos. Let's dive into this episode. So this episode of Charm kicks off with Maggie having a vision that somebody's going to die. That's pretty intense. And I actually really liked that we to see the very specific moments of Maggie's vision kind of like come across in this episode, ultimately leading to not just one, but two deaths. So they're really like giving us that whammy, not one, but two people died in this episode. Which we will get into a little bit later. But we also get to see Maggie continuing to deal with stress and anxiety. And I thought that was a really relatable storyline to include, and I'm glad that they are continuing it. They kind of brought it up a couple of episodes ago, and I'm glad they didn't just like drop it. That's something that she's continuing to deal with and continuing to struggle with. And I really liked seeing that little moment where Jordan was able to kind of just like talk her down and like help her relax and center and just like stay in the moment and stay focused. I think that's a really great message. This episode, let me just bring up a real quick comment from Tez King. I'm loving Maggie's progression. Totally agree. I think that we really get to see so many great emotional moments from Maggie. I guess, she is a character that is led by her emotions. So with her powers and her personality. So I really like that they kind of just like make that all work together. And then we get a couple of other quick comments I'll bring up. Goiko, hello. James, what's up? Every Wizard Way generation, this episode was crazy. Hello. And Joel, I love how you go over each episode. Thank you. So we're going to keep going. So let's talk about, humans trying to get magic. So this episode, we're kind of introduced to this concept that humans have been trying to get magic for centuries. And the Charmed ones are the only ones who are able to stop them that are kind of blocking that. And this seems to be something that I feel like we maybe should have known about a little bit sooner. I think that they kind of hinted at it, but while we knew that the Charmed ones were the only line of defense for the magical realm, I didn't realize that like their main enemy was humans. So I thought that was really interesting. And we learned that if a human touches the black amber in the tree room, that it'll cause the next Dark Ages. And of course, that's what happens. And we learn that we find out what is in that mysterious glowing case that Viv has had. It holds an item called the Prism, which allows the human wearer to wield power and siphon magic, which, that seems very dangerous. And we also do get to learn a little bit more about why Viv is doing this, which I was glad to just kind of find out. And I think she's someone who feels that like there's no saving people unless humans are kind of like the top of the food chain. They're the apex predator. And actually that really called to mind to me, going to a little reference to the original Charmed, the story of Dr. Curtis Williamson. So if you look back in Charmed history, Vivian is not the first person to actually wield magic or even kind of get access to the Charmed one's abilities. In the original Charmed, Dr. Curtis Williamson is a doctor who received the powers of the Charmed ones when their blood was accidentally injected into his system. And since mortals are not meant to wield magic, he's slowly kind of driven insane, and he doesn't want to remove the powers with a potion that the sisters are offering him because he thinks he's saving lives. So that kind of comparison just felt really similar to me. Like there's a little bit of that inspiration maybe from Dr. Curtis Williamson in the Vivian storyline. And Kevin Jones says, when normal humans get magic, it never ends well. Yep, absolutely. And James says, ooh, hold on. Okay, James says, I wish we found out sooner about humans touching the black amber. Yeah, exactly. I think that's something that, just things that would be nice to have learned a little bit more about, I think, ahead of time. And let us continue. So I just felt like there was a little bit of a connection there between, the original Charmed with that Dr. Curtis and with what Vivian is doing. So she, infiltrates the command center. She touches the black amber before the sisters can seal the tree room door. And I have to say, I just kept thinking, man, what happened to the Guardian? She's not going to do anything to try to stop this? Like, useless, right? So the sisters end up using the power of 3 to stop Vivian, because even though she's supposed to be kind of using this prism to siphon their magic, it turns out that the power of 3 is just too powerful for one person. So it ultimately destroys her. Got another comment here from Goiko, who says, I just wish writers would work harder at making us engage with characters. When Julian died, I was like, well, hold on, we'll get to that. Let me continue. Basically, the power of 3 is too much power for one person. It destroys Vivian. And I have to say, I found that so anticlimactic. I was like, this was so easy. This was barely a fight. I.M. says, I love how the Guardian is just there to speak and nothing else. I thought it was a funny bit. You would think, hey, you're here. You're just like chilling in this room. I don't know, like when you eat or anything, but like, can you help us? Can you help us? And Tez says, Vivian did seem badass going to the command center. Yeah, she came in strong. She came to the command center strong, and then she was just defeated so easily. I wish that there was a little bit more of like a fight, or just some more, cool graphics showing like the powers and everything. Like it was too quick. And Kevin Jones says, yes, the end to Viv was so lame. Yeah, I just wish they did a bit more there. Speaking of Julian, which we brought up very briefly, along with Vivian dying, so does Julian. So those are our two people that die in this episode. And I have to say, I was a little bit sad about Julian dying, just because I actually kind of liked him. And in this episode, he was undercover as Nadia, and I was happy to see that he was actually on the good side in the end. And I think I kind of expected that, because when we were kind of following his story, he just seemed like someone who was doing the wrong thing, but for the right reason. Like he really was trying to just help his sister. Like he wasn't trying to hurt anyone, and I don't think that he like really understands like the gravity of what he was doing. So I was a little bit sad to see him go, but I was glad that he ended up, being on the Charmed One side in the end. I will say though, I think that he could have had a bit more of a more meaningful moment with Macy before he passed away. And now this also just makes me wonder, like, what is going to happen with Rosemary? Like, is she going to show up, or like, are they kind of like going to drop the storyline now? Is it over? I don't know. So I'm curious, like, do we think that she's going to appear at all, or if this is kind of done with that storyline and we're moving on to kind of other things. Yeah. So, comment from Kevin about Julian. He says, I like Julian, but I knew his fate was sealed when Harry and Macy got together. Yeah, I guess, it's like the two of them are supposed to be endgame, so you bring in someone else, it's not going to end well. And yeah, let's go on to the next part that I want to talk about, which is this pandemic. So, what I like about this episode, even though I feel like they could have done more with how they, vanquished Vivian, I like that this whole thing is going to have lasting effects on the magical world. I feel like, hopefully that will like just continue building this bigger story. So Ruby does come back in this episode, and we see her coughing up black ash. It doesn't seem good. It turns out that the magical world has been poisoned from Viv touching this black amber. And so this is the actual pandemic type storyline that we're getting. Sorry, Jimmy. I guess I was wrong. Like last episode, I thought maybe Jimmy was kind of like going to be the one to jumpstart this pandemic, but it's really Vivian touching this black amber. And that's going to build throughout the season as all magical beings, witches, demons, good, bad, are going to be affected by this. And Goiko says, it's funny when they were like, if we seal the chamber, we won't be able to save more witches. They saved like 3 the whole season. True, that is true. And James says, I wonder how Jimmy's truth potion is going to play out. Yeah, because see, I thought that Jimmy's truth potion was going to be the start of this pandemic. So I wonder if maybe they're kind of going in a different direction since now that is not the case. And I.M. says, oh my gosh, I forgot about Ruby coughing up ash. Y'all think she's going to have to be a witch now and start helping more. I thought that there was a problem where she couldn't do that. That's why at first I thought her coughing up ash was because she helped someone using her magic. I thought she wasn't supposed to really do that. But let's see. Tez says, I think the lasting effects on the magical world caused by Vivian is to deal with COVID. I think it's smart. So yeah, this is, if you guys had checked out my interview that I did with the showrunners, they kind of teased that they're going to be tackling this pandemic that we're currently in a different sort of way in the show. And I think this is definitely it. And Taryn makes a great point that demons and witches are actually from the same magical source, which is why they both have the sickness. Exactly, because this is all magic, good or bad, all comes from the same place, which I think is very cool. So I do want to talk about some of the magical moments in this episode as well. We do get to see the Charmed Ones working together for once this episode, which was really great. We get to see the sisters use the Turn the Tide spell to infiltrate Vivian's lair. And we get to see Maggie really pull through in this moment, despite the anxiety and fear that she's going through. So that was really great to see her just kind of like pushing through, kicking butt, embracing her power. And in addition to that, we also get to see a couple of other fun magical moments, like seeing how they transform Julian into Nadia and seeing Macy merge her science and magic skills to invent the earbuds, which are these magical headphone walkie-talkies. So that was cool. And I hope we get to see more of that in this season where, where Macy is able to just like kind of tap back into that science a bit more, but still bring that magic in. It was cool to see her invent something that kind of uses a little bit of both. Let's see. I also want to talk about Jordan in this episode. I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed by the B storyline with Jordan and what he was going through. It just seemed like they didn't know what to do with him, so they just kind of like showed him randomly in the woods a few times with no context, and then later he's like, oh yeah, I was getting something to trade Abigail with so that I could get that book of witch ancestors that I need to help. I think they just could have shown us a little bit more, or a little bit more of an impactful scene or something, or just held off. It just didn't really add much, and it felt kind of haphazardly added on. So let's get to a couple more comments. Kevin says, I wish the sisters did more magic together. Definitely agree. It was nice to see that little moment, but we just want more. We want more. James says, I wish we had more Macy and Mel scenes, but Maggie's development was amazing. Absolutely agree. I mean, I think that's just like been the case pretty much since the beginning. I don't know if they're ever going to do anything to fix that, but I hope so. I would love to see more Macy and Mel scenes, and I do think Maggie's development has been really great, and she really has such like a developed character, especially with all the emotional things that she goes through. Let's see what else. We also got a comment here. What is your predictions on Abigail's sister? Great question. That's what I was just about to get into. So I think, first of all, I'm curious, what is it that Abigail wants that Jordan is getting? Don't know. Maybe it's something that will give her access to her sister. But speaking of her sister, we had some theories last episode that maybe Nadia is Abigail's sister, but that's been debunked now that, she's basically halfway around the world due to a spell that the Charmed Ones did. So I'm wondering, who is this going to ultimately end up being revealed as? I honestly don't know. I feel like it's going to be a new character. It would be cool if it was like someone from the past that we've met, but I just don't think that I just don't know. I have no idea who it could be. I don't even know. Do you guys have any thoughts on who could be Abigail's sister? I have no idea. Maybe it is a Jameson. I got some comments of that last week that they don't think that this is another Kane. Maybe this is her sister on her mother's side. I'm curious. I wonder what that's going to mean. We're just adding more and more people. There's so many people in this show, and really, I feel like everyone just wants us, to be focused on the Charmed Ones, and we don't really always get that. So, I do want to bring up another reference to the original Charmed, which is, the black amber getting contaminated by Vivian leads to this virus that infects the magical community, right? And this kind of felt a little bit in the vein to the original series, Hocus Pocus, where the virus is created by the government to power soldiers and then also infects the magical community. So, I'm like, maybe that was a little bit of a connection there. And let's see. Tez is saying, oh, maybe Swan at Safe Space could maybe be Abigail's sister. Maybe. Although I feel like she doesn't really seem to know a lot what's going on. I don't know. I feel like maybe they would have hinted a little bit more, like that she knows some stuff. It would be cool, though, because I like that actress. I just feel like they haven't really done a lot with her, other than that one scene where, like, they made it look like she was being haunted or whatever. Jason says, you're right. I forgot about that OG Charmed reference. Yeah, tell Hocus Pocus. Is that what it was called? Hocus Pocus. And then Taryn says maybe Abby's dad's blood was the blood that resurrected Macy, and Abby and Macy could be sisters. Maybe, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like maybe this is someone that we haven't met yet. Although that would be interesting. Quay says, what if they follow the old story and had a fourth sister but Mel lives? I just think that we're just adding too many people. I just feel like there's already so many characters. I just want them to, like, develop the Charmed Ones more at this point. But you never know. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the teaser for the next episode, because that was kind of crazy. They were like, it looks like the magical world is dying, and the only way to stop it is for Mel to die. Why is that? Why is that the only solution, for Mel to die? Kind of random. I don't really know. I'm curious about where it's going to go, but I ultimately feel like the girls are going to have to figure something out. I don't think that Melonie Diaz is leaving the show, especially because, as a bunch of you have commented, let me bring one up. Charmed has been renewed for a season 4. So, I'm sure that we're not going to lose Melonie Diaz when they just got renewed for a 4th season. I think it's all going to work out in the end. The girls are going to figure out how to save the world, save the magical realm without having Mel have to die. Yeah, so I'm very curious about where they're going with this. I feel like this is one of those shows where I don't really know what's happening next, because everything's kind of so random and all over the place sometimes. But as we got a comment from Madness Arcade, Mel isn't going to die this soon. That's a red herring. It's definitely red. I don't think Mel's going to die at all. I think that this is just going to be like a something that the girls are going to figure out how to fix that situation. And also, as James pointed out, Mel is supposed to be teaching this season. Exactly. So how's she going to teach if she's dead? She's not dying. They're going to figure it out, as they always do, doing their own thing. Malachi says, how is Mel's death going to save magic? That's a great question. That's the thing. I don't think it makes any sense, you know? If they had set something up that was like, that, I don't know, that just like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't really know. But I do think that we need to celebrate the fact that we're getting a 4th season. So, you know, we barely have started season 3, and we've already gotten news that we're getting a 4th season. Also, some of my other favorite shows that I enjoy, Nancy Drew and Roswell, New Mexico, got picked up for new seasons as well. So very exciting. Let's see. Joel says they could use Mel's time bracelet to go back in time before Viv got into the command center. They kind of haven't brought any of that up since the 1st season, so I don't think it's coming back. Tez says, I want to see Mel and Macy use their powers more. Yeah, I feel like we've actually been getting a lot of really great Maggie development and seeing a lot of her powers, but we haven't really gotten to see as much of Mel and Macy's powers. So hopefully I personally feel that like these first 3 episodes that we're getting don't count in season 3. Like this is still season 2. So I'm hoping that when we get to the 4th episode in season 3 really kicks off, that things are going to be a little bit different. That's what I'm hoping. And a question from Eddie says, this is the last episode from last season, right? No, there is one more. So this upcoming Sunday, there's no episode because it's the Super Bowl. And then the next week, around Valentine's Day, there's going to be one more episode that's technically part of season 3. And then we're going to get into the real season 3. Or sorry, that's part of season 2. And then we're going to get into the real season 3. Yeah, so basically with this episode of Charmed, I'll say I liked the Maggie development that we got. I felt that things were lacking a bit in terms of the fight between Vivian and the Charmed ones. And also I just think that they could have done more with Julian's death, like, and just, you know, he and Macy were like together for a bit. You know, I think that they could have had like a little bit of a moment. I also think Jordan's story like didn't really add anything. But again, I'm hoping that after the 3rd episode, we're going to be doing like something completely different. I'm hoping like we're going to kind of go in like a new direction and just feel like refreshed. Like that's the real start of season 3. Yeah. So if you have any other comments and questions, feel free to throw them in now. I'll stay on for a few more minutes and we'll talk about it. Let's see. Osmond says, do you think we'll ever see the Book of Shadows again? I'm not sure, but I do know that in the interview that I did with the showrunners, they did mention that there is going to be a scene about it or something about it. I don't know if it's going to be a big moment or a small moment, but I know it's going to come up. London says, when do you think Jimmy's going to come back? I mean, again, I don't really know where we're going into this 3rd episode, but my thought would maybe be, if anything, if he is going to come back, like maybe they'll kind of like tease something at the end of the 3rd episode. And then as the 4th episode really starts the real 3rd season, maybe we'll kind of see him there. I don't really know where they're going to go with Jimmy, but I guess he could come back at any time because it's Rupert, you know, he's always going to be on the set because he's playing Harry also. So, let's see. James says, need more focus in episode 4 and so on. Absolutely agree. I really want them to like dive deep into certain episodes. Like for instance, there was the 1st episode of this season when they kind of dove into that story of the witch who was taken by an ogre, trapped in a painting. That to me could have been a full episode where we actually get to like dive into a story that really like introduces us more to other magical beings and stuff. And I feel like a lot of times these little stories come up and then the characters that they introduce are like they just feel like background characters. They're not even important to the story, and I wish that they just like felt more solid and focused and like just brought more of the magic and everything to the forefront. Like sometimes it feels like, what was the point of that? You know, it was kind of unnecessary, even though it was a cool reference to the original. Like I think they just could have done more to make it a bigger moment or episode. Every wizard says, like, Piper and Leo, do you think Macy and Harry are going to have kids? Maybe. I don't know if they're like there yet. I feel like they're you know, I think Macy's still going to be like really focused on her career, especially in this season. So I don't know. I just feel like this, you know what? I think maybe not. Or if they do, it would be later on, because I just feel like this is a show in the CW, and you don't really always see a lot of shows in the CW where they're like, you know, having family, like it's usually about young women. Same thing as in like Nancy Drew and in Roswell, New Mexico. It's like these young women making their way. And like, I'm not sure if I necessarily see that, at least in the near future, maybe down the line. I just feel like that's not like the direction, but you never know. Blue Wolf says, I agree, Kristen, that battle should have been more epic. Yeah, like this is the big bad of this season. Like let's do something really big and, you know, out of this world. Let's see. Ted says, Macy is my favorite, but Maggie is growing on me so much. Yeah, I think if I had to rank, well, I have ranked the Charmed ones in the past, all 7 of them, but if I were to rank the sisters, I probably would do like Macy, Maggie, Mel. It'd probably be like Macy, Maggie, Mel. Although honestly, I would say, you know what, it might be Maggie in this new season. I feel like we're seeing a lot more of her. But Macy has just had like such great character development in past seasons. Like in this new start, I'm like, ooh, Maggie's doing a lot of cool stuff. So, oh, Blue Wolf, great point. Yeah, so maybe in terms of will they have kids in the future? Hasey's still defending the relationship, so who knows? You never know. Edigi says that yes, that was like Demon of the Week. I love a Demon of the Week because I feel like you get to really learn something about the magical world, but also like really spend time with the characters more, you know? So like I hope that they kind of go back to that. And I did hear that they were going to be having a lot more like magical creatures in this new season. And also we're going to get to meet a new family member. So I'm not sure exactly who it is, but I don't know why. I think it's like a cousin. I don't remember if I read that somewhere or what, but yeah. Picture Perfect says, is it just me or is anyone else confused about this after they started switching their powers from season 1? I just feel like that little detail has made the show hard to follow. Yeah, you know, sometimes I'm like not sure what their powers even are anymore. Like in the first episode of this season when Macy, not Macy, so many M names, when Maggie was able to like change Mel's feelings, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's like, you know, different. So, you know, she has like, I guess she's building her powers, but, you know, I wish that they would spend a little bit more time on that. James, great point. You know, I want Mel to use more of her powers, especially her ice. I forgot she had ice powers for a second because she hasn't used it in so long. So, yeah, I agree. Evan says, I'm looking forward to meeting more of the Vera family. Me too. That's like my favorite part, is when we get to learn more about like them and their family. Like when they introduced Ray, I was like, this is awesome. Like I loved meeting Ray. I really like that actor. I think he did a great job. Let's see. Joel says, I feel like Maggie is more powerful than the other sisters because of her power. She could easily change their feelings. Yeah. Yeah, that's like that's very powerful. Steffi just dropped in to say hi. Hey, Steffi, how are you? Ooh, okay. Quay says, yes, Maggie is giving very much therapist. I wonder if when she goes back to school, maybe she'll go for like psychology or something. I think that would be really cool and just kind of connect her with her powers even more. Osmond says we could use more clarity on their powers and the charm prophecy in this universe. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think things get muddled a lot in the episodes, especially because they're a lot of times trying to do so much at a time that I'm like, so much is happening, but nothing is happening. But yeah. James says, I want to learn more about the Charmed ones, their legacy, their power, who they are, like what makes them special. They're always telling us and not showing us. Yeah. I think what I really liked about the first season was that we really did get to like live in the real world, and then there was all this stuff happening, but it still felt grounded. And I feel like in the second season, and I mean this is technically still part of the second season, I just feel like things kind of got really messy all over the place because there's no like grounding force for them. And so like a lot of it I feel like just kind of went off the rails at times. Jason says, I think we can all agree they should slow down a bit and develop their powers and history more. Definitely agree with that. Kevin Jones says, it would be cool if the sisters got to meet former Charmed ones and learn from them. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I mean, I believe based off of that book that we saw with the Charmed ones' names in it, there are Charmed ones that are still out there, you know, that, or are there? See, it's a little bit confusing. I'm not even fully sure, but it would be really cool to meet former Charmed ones. And I guess that Guardian was a former Charmed one, but I just think that they could do more, you know? If she's a former Charmed one, how come she wasn't helping? Blue, Blue Wolf says only one set of charmed ones can exist at one time. That's true, but if one of, well, it looked like in the book one sister has died in each group, so if one of them dies, aren't they technically not the charmed ones anymore, even if the other sisters live? You know what I mean? Like they're not the charmed ones, but can they still be alive? You would think though that then they would be helping in some way or be elders or something. Because like what, they just would disappear? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, Tess says the charmed ones in the book are dead. Okay, so you know that clarified things. Okay, Madness Arcade says that she wasn't able to help because she was a spirit. She was a ghost, the guardian. Okay, that clarifies things a little bit more. Oh, okay. Tez King says the red line suggests that sister will be the first to die. I mean, maybe you know what maybe could happen in the next episode is that Mel will die, but then be like brought back, and then that kind of like cheats the system. I don't know. There's a lot going on in the show that I'm very confused about, but I'm glad that we can all kind of talk about it together and try to figure it out. So if anyone has anything else they want to add, I'm going to start wrapping up. Thank you guys again for your patience in this live stream coming out. You know, I was very busy with Sundance. So again, I will just say, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and, you know, check out not just the Charm videos, but I have lots of other content. Like I said, I was at Sundance, so I have a lot of videos coming out of reviews and interviews that I'm very excited for. And I'm just glad that we were able to all get together and chat about this episode. Jason says, ooh, oh, sorry. Tez says, I enjoy your videos. Thank you. Jason says, thank you for this. Thank you guys for joining. Manus Arcade says, do you think Charmed will surpass the original in season count? Maybe. Yeah. I could see it, but also, like, I will be honest, I don't feel the story is as strong. But you know, they've already renewed for 4 seasons, so that's, you know, almost half of what the original had, and it's in less time, you know. Terrence says, I love your videos. Bye. Thank you. Actually, I don't see the comment now, but one of the comments did give me a thought of just, I really wish that they would go back to Hilltown and kind of connect the worlds in that way, like maybe they opened up this whole thing where like Julian was looking for Macy, her face is plastered all over the place. I kind of wish that someone from Hilltown would have like come into the picture and been like, wait a minute, they're still alive. I think that would have been really cool, but unfortunately I don't think that's happening, or at least it doesn't look like it. Who knows, maybe in this finale episode of the original season 2, aka the 3rd episode, maybe they'll do that, but I think that would have been really interesting. But anyway, Liliana, can't speak. Liliana says, it was awesome catching one of these live. Your charm reviews are so fun. Thank you. I appreciate it. Michael says, do you like the shorter seasons? Yes. I need a shorter season. I think that, sometimes it can be really hard to catch up. I mean, you guys already saw this week, I wasn't able to do my video Monday. It's Thursday. Sometimes a lot of things, you get busy, things kind of take over, and then you're like, oh, shoot. I need to do this. And, so I think, with a shorter season, it'll be easier to get my videos out and keep the momentum going. And she says, you're awesome. I enjoy your videos. Thank you. And yeah, so I am going to wrap things up now. Thank you so much for watching this review, this live stream. Hopefully you guys will join me not next Monday, but the Monday after for the next episode of Charmed, because if anyone didn't know, this Sunday is a Super Bowl, so the episode, there's no episode, basically. But I'm excited to see what happens next, but I'm really, really more excited to see them get into the official season 3. So episode 4, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for episode 4, and to like kind of really just like jumpstart a whole new era, if you will, of Charmed. If you guys like this one, you can check out more of my Charmed videos right over here, and I will catch you in my next one. See ya! Bye!